You can find Tundra Rock on Stickman Records at their website, stickman-records.com, as well as other merchandise for the band, too.
Yeah, extremely well. So cool to tour with, the legendary band that they are. Super sweet guys, super sweet crew. Yeah, it's just, we had a blast. And yeah, the mostly packed venues. The Americans are, among the best crowds to play for, undoubtedly. Always up for a good time and outgoing.
It's silly. We don't get political on the show, but you're not the only band that's mentioned it, and it's really ridiculous. There should be a free flow of people, at least for sure. The geopolitical climate we're in right now, I try to remain neutral because it's what are we going to do about it?
They made a deal out of choosing to name their own genre. So I thought it was a cool idea.
I've been a fan since you guys came around the first time back in February, and last year. At least I knew of you.
We thought why don't we start a band? We'd been going to shows and, missed the rock.
Yeah.
There's a lot of amazing bands and musicians here. But no one really played we were listening, or we went to The Sword and Mastodon and Queens of Stone Age and Kyuss and the riffy side of rock. And Maria, the bass player, she played for many years in one of the biggest bands in Norway, I would say. They were like pioneers. They were all girl band and very known here. Playing desert rock in a small town in a small city, it was pretty mind-blowing to say the least.
Tundra Rock, I just listened to it the other day. I've been listening to it several times this last week, but it's your latest record. Obviously, everyone knows that. It feels more layered and a little more adventurous than the debut. Was it?
Yeah. Well, the first album was written by 4 other people, so or 3 other people as well. The first record was, at least we started writing it in a kind of a optimistic, young state of mind, still just having fun, figuring out life. The world just seems darker and less people out drinking beer now after COVID. You can sense it in a way that everything's gotten a little bit colder. But I've listened to progressive, not in the genre sense, but progressive rock and punk my whole life. And being conscious about the world around and, trying to get out a message through the music really, talked to me as a teenager. Rage Against the Machine and System of Down and, I'm even, as a kid. So yeah, Bathing Guns is written about what's happened in Gaza the last 2 years.
Well, it seems like you guys could be a really good bridge between all that stuff because you're definitely taking all those influences, Yeah, it's like when Motorhead did back in the early 80s between punk and metal.
So, that makes the live shows wild, And we had some good help from people who had experience. Once again, Sound of Liberation helped us out a lot after booking the gigs. And yeah, we got into the groove, both literally and figuratively, pretty fast.
Yeah, what's been the most unexpected moment on tour so far?
It's just a mind-boggling moment. It's hard to really digest as well. It's like a out-of-body experience for 40 minutes. Passes quickly.
Yeah.
The love we feel from crowds everywhere makes it very enjoyable. I think we've managed to enjoy ourselves, and everyone is pulling in the same direction. As I said, we're in our 30s, no heavy drug use.
Yeah,
we like to party, and we party a lot. But yeah, I think if you manage to keep away from the powders and stuff like that.
Obviously, Stickman Records, you're on that label, and those guys are killer, man. They put out some killer bands like Elder and King Buffalo.
Monarch Heavy in the US as well. It's done a lot for us. Stickman is, everybody knows it's high quality, both the products and the bands and music. Band.
You guys got to bring that over to America. Let's go. Maybe Elder can shoot, let's do that.
Well, Adam Jones has been. So is it very noisy here, by the way?
No, it sounds fine. They're getting older, they're probably mellowing out a little bit, but they still rock.
Yeah.
Maynard just came out. He told everybody to stop. He's like, he's like, this isn't a time to be angry. This is time for mourning, and we need to process that first. Even professional musicians doing it all the time, and they're just humans too. I've seen I've seen multi-platinum acts start a song over before. And and they're just like, sorry, you know, we'll just do it again.
That's the magic of live music. And I think, yeah, mistakes add to the magic. He does unbelievable stuff when he or somebody else does a mistake. Sometimes, you know, it just ends up with some magic. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Rock and roll, man, for sure. You mentioned like in past interviews that repetition in the heaviness of your songs, it's meditative. And you know, when I read that, I really related to that because I'm like a big fan of some of the bands that do a lot of expansive songs, and you know, the parts are very long and meditative.
I think the magic behind the Horses song is the repetition, you know, like just the trance, like the easy melody that riff is. It's just when you just keep that groove going, not breaking it up, it just, at least for me, it kind of soothes the mind a little bit. I've always dreamt of doing a Dope Smoker kind of song, you know.
A whole album side of
one song. Well, it's just like there's some magic behind the Tundra Rock. I promise you. Like so many times we're in the studio and it's like, well, 420 is when and that's not planned. But you know, I just try to ignore it. And you know, the plan is to release a new album next year, but you know, I don't sweat it. If it's postponed, it'll be postponed because at the end of the day, it has to be as good as possible. And because of that effort, we've been able to push as hard as we have done and release another record. Playing our music is fucking brutal at festivals. The 40-minute sets, sometimes even like 35 or 30 minutes. And you know, you have to play with the ending intensity from the start. Yeah. But no, our dream producer is Eirik, our producer, you know, a super close friend of mine and the others. Just for me, he's been a very important support. I insisted on the sound. You know, he didn't want to do the sound, and it took a lot of time to hit that middle spot where we were both satisfied. And with Tundra Rock as well, you know, like I kind of had to be convinced about the sound on Tundra Rock because for me it was like, you know, it was too crisp and it was too clear in a way and balanced.
A lot of people think robots are going to take it over, but they're not going to be imperfect. You know, so keep those little tiny imperfections in there. That's the magic. But
in music, I think AI will be its own genre, definitely. But I think human-made music will become more important, you know.
There's an AI band on Spotify right now. They have 400,000 followers, and it's not. Yeah. So we're getting there.
And I think portions of the public will swallow it. I still think people will have a thirst for real riffs and real musicians on stage. Yeah. Performing that music, there's holograms, and we play at Hellfest and Alcatraz and big metal festivals like that. And you see the headliners like Whitesnake and Scorpions and Sabaton and these bands. And, you know, some of them are great, but some of them they can't sing anymore. So, you know, what's the point of fucking, if you can't even sing anymore, you know, like it's sad seeing Ozzy on the throne, even though, like, you know, from the circumstances, they made the best out of it. There is a very vibrant, very much alive stoner scene in Europe and in America. And all of these underground scenes are all, you know, nothing will kill them, even though rock is not mainstream, you know. So the intensity is there. I love the 150, 200 cap venues. The whole band loves them because the energy in the room, you're just one with the audience. The smaller clubs, the sound is better on stage. I feel like the festivals always hit or miss, take on these challenges and conquering them. The adrenaline and the energy is like, you know, you become completely addicted to it. And no matter what shape or a day on tour or whatever, you know, you can be dead tired, but then you get on stage and it's just like fucking mayhem, and then get off stage and you're just as tired again. Yeah, we try to have fun, and I hope people will hear that we have fun when we write music and that we have fun when we play live.